All right, tonight we're focusing on the state of South Africa's roads. Earlier this month, Frost and Sullivan released a report stating that 30% of South Africa's paved roads are in a poor to very poor condition. It gets worse on sand roads. More than half of the unpaved roads were in such a condition. To discuss, we're joined by Transport Economist Ofentse Mokoena. Mr. Mokoena, thank you for being with us. Does this confirm what many South Africans believe, that the roads are bad for our cars and our lives?
Well, it does highlight that the systems that we do have in place are either not working effectively or they're not being managed efficiently.
Does this report get to the bottom of where the problem lies? The SA Institute of Civil Engineering looked at the report and said it's been warning for years about problems that are variable between spheres of government and geographical areas. So let's start with government roads. I mean, we know there's national, provincial, municipal. Do we know where the problem lies, or is it across all of those?
Well, it's a very interesting question, and I really want you to think about, the layers to this, right? So we're allocating maybe around 11 billion, somewhere between 11 and 13 billion rand a year to provincial roads, provincial and municipal roads. And what we're seeing is that we have systems in place to facilitate the management of maintenance. So we've got this road asset management plan, and we've got something called the road asset management system. So the road asset management system is the one that indicates to provinces and municipalities that this road is in a poor condition and it needs to be prioritized. The plan is the one that allocates the amount of money that needs to be put in there. National government is responsible for basically looking at the information that the provinces are providing and channeling appropriate resources and support, and actually checking if the roads are actually being improved or not, because you do have a system that you report to.
Okay, but it sounds like the system then isn't working the way it should.
Yes, it absolutely sounds like two things. The system might be working as it should, but provinces might not be moving as quickly as they need to, or the system that is being used is not being rolled out in the best possible way. Remember that this system is actually outsourced. So by and large, consultants and service providers are the ones who populate the data in these RAMS programs. So it's not always the state that is the one that is basically populating the data.
And we know many municipalities are falling apart and being blamed for just dereliction of duty when it comes to services. So surely that's not helping, especially when we go to sort of those rural roads as well.
Yes, I mean, let's look at it this way. Does every province, have an equal type of institutional structure for road maintenance or road infrastructure management? So, Western Cape, eThekwini, or KZN, Limpopo and Gauteng generally have, decent scaled authorities, so entities that are responsible for infrastructure. But when you go to places where you'd find a lot of rural areas, the conversation is different. And in fact, rural areas are by and large, you see them in situations where the infrastructure is not infrastructure at all. It's just gravel roads that are attached to a paved arterial.
Yeah.
And that has been around for a very long time. Lots of families know what I'm talking about when you have to go home in December.
Yeah. Sometimes we highlight those stories, and it does feel like not much changes. And I can tell you, I've driven on roads with potholes in Sandton, in Hyde Park, in some of the richest areas in Johannesburg. So what can be done here?
Well, there's sort of two things that we have to really face. The first one is that, for every 62 cents that, road users are paying for infrastructure, 72 cents actually needs to be spent to invest in the infrastructure. So there's a backlog in terms of the funding. So road infrastructure is not getting enough funding. And my view is that we need to start having a conversation about different ways to provide institutions like provinces and municipalities with the capacity to not only close capital, but also allocate it in a way that can by and large be concessioned, so that you actually get the same quality for your national roads. You get that in local municipalities and they're managed properly.
All right, and this has implications for freight. And of course, then the alternative is the ports, a huge announcement around the ports today. I wish we had more time, but we have to leave it there. Transport Economist Ofentse Mokoena, thank you very much.